You are not broken. You are just used to living with no rules. You wake up and the day drags you. Your emotions drag you. Your habits drag you. Your phone drags you. You react, react, react. And at the end of the day, you wonder why you feel like a passenger in your own life. This is not because you are weak. It's because you have never sat down and quietly chosen your code. You've never written the rules that govern how you will live, how you will respond, how you will carry yourself, no matter what happens outside of you. That's what this is. Not hype. Not another feel-good speech. This is a set of rules. Quiet, brutal, simple rules for taking back control. And the first thing you need to understand is this. Life is not waiting for you to figure this out. It doesn't pause. It doesn't slow down because you finally decided to care. Every morning you wake up without a code. You give that day away. You let your moods, your notifications, your impulses write your story. You've done that long enough. At some point, you have to decide that drifting is no longer acceptable. You have to decide that how I feel is no longer a good enough reason to let another day go to waste. You have to decide that your emotions are welcome to exist, but they are not welcome to drive. Control does not start with the world. It starts with you. You cannot control who texts you today. You cannot control who betrays you, who ignores you, who decides to leave. You cannot control traffic, weather, luck, timing. You cannot control whether people understand your heart, your effort, your intentions. You can control what you do next. Most people never truly learn that difference. They stay angry at the sky for raining, angry at people for being people, angry at circumstances for not bending the way they imagined. They never ask the only question that gives them power back. Given that this is happening, who am I going to be? That is the question of a Stoic. That is the question of someone who has a rule, not someone who just has feelings. You will feel everything: jealousy, fear, sadness, disappointment, temptation. You cannot build a life where those emotions never visit you. You can, however, build a mind where none of them get permanent authority. So you start with this rule: I will not give control of my life to things I cannot control. When something goes wrong, you do not ask, why me? You ask, what now? When someone disrespects you, you do not spend 3 days fantasizing about revenge. You step back, protect your boundaries, and decide how someone like you responds, with dignity, not drama. You don't waste your strength trying to control other people. That's a war that never ends. You use that strength to control what you bring to every room you enter. Your work ethic, your tone, your standards, your attitude. You will feel hurt, but you will not let hurt dictate your next move. You will feel angry, but you will not let anger choose your words. You will feel afraid, but you will not let fear decide your future. The second rule is simple, but it will rewrite your days. Own the first hour, or the day will own you. How you start is not a small detail. It's a declaration. The moment your eyes open, there is a battle for your attention. Your phone is right there. Your notifications are right there. 1,000 little hooks are waiting to pull you away from yourself. Most people surrender before they even sit up. They roll over, unlock their screen, and let their first thought of the day be whatever the world throws at them. Someone else's success, someone else's opinion, someone else's drama. Before their feet hit the floor, they're already behind, already anxious, already comparing. You cannot live with control if you start every day in surrender. When you wake up, you pause. You breathe. You remember that your mind is yours before it belongs to anyone else. You sit up. You put your feet on the ground. And you create even a small moment of intention before any noise enters. You ask yourself, who am I going to be today, especially when things go wrong? Because things will go wrong. You're not scripting a perfect day. You're preparing a solid self. You don't need a fancy morning routine. You need a boundary. For the first slice of your day, you don't belong to your phone, to the news, to the messages. You belong to your code. You belong to your breath, your thoughts, your priorities. Maybe it's 10 minutes of stillness. Maybe it's a page of journaling. Maybe it's a short walk in silence. Maybe it's push-ups on the floor with sleep still in your eyes. Whatever it is, it sends a signal. I move myself. The world doesn't drag me. That small act of ownership at the beginning changes the way you move through the rest. The third rule is cruel, but it will save you years. Stop debating if life is fair. Start preparing to handle it. You waste so much energy arguing with reality. You say, it shouldn't be this way. People shouldn't act like that. It shouldn't be this hard. And maybe you're right. Maybe it shouldn't. But you don't live in the world of should. You live in the world of is. Reality does not bend because you're offended by it. People will still lie. Things will still break. Plans will still fail. Opportunities will still go to people less deserving than you. If you make your peace conditional on everything being fair, you will never know peace at all. What you can do is become the kind of person who can survive it. You can become the kind of person who can stand in unfair circumstances and not be destroyed by them. You can build the strength to endure and adapt. That means training, not just in the gym, but in your mind. You practice doing hard things on purpose so that when hard things happen without warning, your system is not shocked. You put yourself under small stresses so that big stresses don't break you. You start where you are, a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, a habit you've been postponing, a workout you've been putting off. You don't need to climb a mountain on day one. You just need to stop living in a bubble of comfort. Your comfort zone is killing your potential. Not because comfort is evil, but because growth cannot breathe in a room with no discomfort. So the rule becomes, when it's hard, I stay. When it's scary, I move anyway. When it's unfair, I adapt rather than collapse. The fourth rule is about a prison most people don't know they're in. Stop living as if the entire world is watching you. You don't take the shot, not because you can't, but because you imagine everyone analyzing you if you miss. You don't post the thing, not because you have nothing to say, but because you imagine some faceless crowd laughing at you behind their screens. You hold back your real self, not because you are nothing, but because you think everyone is constantly studying every move you make. They aren't. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to write your story. They go to sleep thinking about their own regrets, wake up worrying about their own doubts, scroll worrying about their own image. You are not the center of their universe the way you are the center of yours. Once that really sinks in, you get your freedom back. You realize you don't need the approval of strangers to live by your rules. You realize you can fail publicly, and the world will move on in 5 seconds. You realize you can choose a path that makes sense to you, even if nobody else gets it yet. The only opinion you have to face every night is your own. You can't mute that voice. You can't unfollow your conscience. When you betray yourself to impress people whose names you don't even know, you feel it. It follows you to bed. It stares at you in the mirror. So you stop building your life around imaginary critics. You start building it around the question, when I'm alone with myself, am I proud of how I showed up today? The fifth rule is the backbone of all the others. Self-respect comes before pleasure. This is where most people break. They want respect, but they reach for relief. They want long-term peace, but they keep choosing short-term comfort. They want a strong life, but they live by soft choices. You know exactly what this looks like. Saying you'll get up early, then hitting snooze. Saying you'll eat better, then grabbing whatever numbs you. Saying you're done with someone, then replying when they message you at 2 a.m. Saying you'll focus, then disappearing into a scroll hole for an hour. Every time you do that, you teach yourself a dangerous lesson. My words mean nothing. My standards are negotiable. You become someone you can't trust. And if you can't trust you, it doesn't matter how many motivational videos you listen to. There is no foundation. Self-respect is not something you get from affirmations alone. You build it by doing things that are aligned with your values, especially when nobody else sees it. You build it by making promises to yourself that you actually keep. You don't need to be perfect. You will slip. You will fail. You will have days that fall apart. But you refuse to normalize it. You refuse to laugh it off as just how I am. You treat those moments as data. Here is where I broke my own code. Here is where I need to strengthen it. Pleasure is not the problem. Pleasure is fine. But if you repeatedly choose it at the expense of your own respect, it becomes poison. So you ask yourself all day long, will this make me like myself more or less? And you move accordingly. The sixth rule is quiet, and almost nobody talks about it. But it changes everything. You must schedule time to meet yourself. Most people know everything about everyone except themselves. They know gossip, trends, the latest drama, what every influencer ate for breakfast. They don't know their own patterns. They don't know why they keep ending up in the same arguments, the same dead-end jobs, the same kind of relationships. They don't know because they never stop. They never sit down and say, what am I doing? What do I keep repeating? Where do I keep lying to myself? Reflection isn't glamorous. Nobody claps when you sit alone with your thoughts. But that is where you level up. You take your experiences, and instead of just feeling them, you study them. You ask, what was I thinking right before I sabotaged myself? What was I afraid of when I said yes, even though I wanted to say no? What do I keep blaming on the world that is actually within my control? You write it, not because journaling is trendy, but because the mind loves to dodge. Thoughts are slippery. They feel clear until you try to capture them. When you write, you pin them down. You force yourself to see the patterns on paper. The rule here is simple. If I don't understand my mind, I cannot control my life. So you give yourself this gift, 10 minutes in the morning or at night, to be brutally honest with yourself. No filter, no performance, just you and the truth. The seventh rule is this: turn every obstacle into a training ground. Something goes wrong, and your first reaction is almost always emotional. You say, why is this happening to me? The Stoic rewrites that question. What is this trying to teach me? You lose a job. Yes, it hurts. But now you have a chance to see if you've built your entire identity on one role. You get rejected. Yes, it stings. But now you have a chance to learn that your worth does not depend on who chooses you. You get embarrassed. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But now you have a chance to practice humility and resilience. You do not have to pretend to enjoy your problems. This is not about fake positivity. This is about refusing to waste your suffering. If life is going to hurt you, and it will, you might as well gain something from the pain. You ask yourself, even in the middle of it, how can this make me sharper, more patient, more disciplined, more compassionate, more prepared? Every hit becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes a rep in the gym of character. Pain without reflection is just punishment. Pain with reflection is training. The eighth rule is about time, the one resource you never get back. Live like your days are numbered, because they are. Most people live as if they're immune to endings. They move through their days like they can afford to waste them. They say, one day I'll start. One day I'll leave. One day I'll try. One day I'll change. They say it until there are no more days. Memento mori is not a dark phrase. It is a clarifying one. Remember you will die. Not to depress you, but to wake you up. To shrink your petty arguments. To silence the voice that says, I have time to waste. If you knew for a fact you had only a handful of years, how much of what you stress over would still matter? How many people would you stop chasing? How many apologies would you finally make? How many projects would you finally start? Not because they're guaranteed to succeed, but because they matter to you. When you remember that everything is temporary, your body, your titles, your possessions, the opinions of others, you stop worshiping them. You stop being terrified of losing things that were never really yours to keep. You start protecting what is yours, your integrity, your daily effort, your ability to love, your courage. The ninth rule is the opposite of what most people practice. Value consistency over intensity. It is easy to be intense for a day. It is easy to be obsessed for a week. It is easy to stay up all night, make big plans, feel unstoppable. It is much harder to show up every day in a quiet, unremarkable way. But that is where your life is actually built. Not in your greatest speeches, but in whether you actually live them when no one is watching. Not in your proud posts, but in the days you don't post because you're too busy working. Not in your planned transformations, but in the tiny habits you repeat long after the motivation wears off. Intensity makes you feel powerful. Consistency makes you powerful. The Stoic does not ask, how big can I go today? He asks, what can I repeat for the next 10 years? He doesn't need fireworks. He needs a flame that doesn't go out when the wind picks up. So you take your goals and you make them smaller, not bigger. Not because you are thinking small, but because you finally understand how real change works. You would rather do 10 minutes a day for a year than 3 hours a day for a week, and then nothing. You build a life you can actually sustain. And the final rule, the one that ties them all together. You are responsible for the standard you hold yourself to, not your parents, not your past, not your trauma, not your culture, not your boss, not your partner. You. None of those things are irrelevant. They matter. They shaped you. But they do not get to be the authors of your future unless you keep handing them the pen. There is a part of you that knows when you are beneath your own potential. You feel it when you lie, when you procrastinate, when you break your word, when you shrink to fit in, when you betray your own conscience. That feeling is not there to shame you. It is there to guide you. Standards are not about perfection. They are about direction. They are a line you draw in the sand and say, this is the level I operate at now. Not because you always have, but because you choose to from this point forward. You may be surrounded by people who live with no code, people who numb themselves every night, complain every day, settle for anything that distracts them from their own emptiness. You may be tempted to join them, but you know too much now. You know that life will not slow down. You know that your mind can be rewired. You know that your morning is a vote. You know that pain can become training. You know that your feelings are not your master. You know that your respect for yourself is worth more than any cheap high. So you sit with these rules and you decide, am I going to live by them, or am I going to let another decade pass while I think about it? You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't have to wait until you're healed, until you're rich, until you're confident, until you're less afraid. You start where you are, with the day you have, with the mind you have, with the body you have, with the time you have left. You wake up tomorrow and you own that first hour. You choose one small act of discipline over comfort. You catch yourself when you start complaining about what you can't control, and you redirect that energy toward what you can. You give yourself 10 minutes to meet your own mind. You say no when everything in you wants to say yes, just to be liked. You treat obstacles as chances to practice your code. You will fail. You will fall. You will forget. But you will stand up again, not as a victim of your day, but as its author. Control is not something the world gives you. It is something you quietly take back, one decision at a time. These are the rules. They are not pretty. They are not easy. But they are yours, if you want them. Life will not wait for you to decide. But this moment is still here. This breath is still yours. This choose your code. Then live like you me.